Ready. Play.
Yeah, Iga was almost out of this point, but she kind of saved herself with this one pickup, and then Badosa eventually makes the error. Yeah, it just seems like that second set emptied Badosa's both gas tank, but also her mental state. Really, like she gave everything to fight back. Fourth
What
match
happened?
point. Uh-huh.
What happened from the two halves, perhaps 3/3 if you want, of the match? What happened in that 6-3 3-love period for Iga, and then what changed to make it a 3-set match, if you like?
I don't know. I mean, Iga was flying for a while, that's for sure. She saved that breakpoint at 2-3 in the opening set, and then had that, of course, run of games where like Badosa suddenly wasn't getting anything out of the serve, and I don't know, was like constantly in trouble. But then I think Badosa just honestly played super well to get that second set done. The pressure, the depth on the ground strokes, the returns was really good. Of course, Iga isn't like fully comfortable with timing indoor hard, so she was sometimes messing up a bit. Just trying to take the forehand a bit early, but still getting that spin in, and that's not obvious for her. Seems like they are very friendly with each other, still talking after the match now about something. Yeah, I think it was mostly just Badosa putting that pressure on, and Swiatek showing that she's still a little, she still needs some adjusting, let's say, to conditions like this. But after that, yeah, it just seems like Badosa literally put everything she had into that second set, and eventually the third set was just pretty underwhelming.
Iga indoor hard. I guess we don't have as much on the women's side of the game as on the men's in terms of sample size, but it's probably not a particularly enthusiastic environment for her. I know that indoor hard is not quite as black and white as that. I mean, on the men's side, Paris Bercy and Turin, I think, are very different speeds, for example. But yeah, it's probably we're probably not as confident as we would be on a sort of slow, gritty outdoor hard like at Indian Wells, or in the past, maybe to a less extent, New York.
Yeah, I think indoor hardcourts definitely could be very different depending on the speed and everything. So Iga was fine in Ostrava, of course, a couple of
Ostrava
appearances, right?
springs to mind, but there's
She
it's
was
not a huge sample
she
size.
played okay too today, right? Like she was fine, but definitely when the depth of Badosa's ground strokes was high, when the intensity was high, you could see a lot of errors on her forehand, especially. It's just that sort of, trying to play it the way she usually does, not having that favorite contact point, not getting a higher ball, like, I don't know, waist high or something like that, but sometimes having to add that spin from even below, and then the grip as well is pretty tough. I don't know. I mean, she's obviously one of the top players in the world indoor hard as well. She's just not, top one. She's just not the best there is and unbeatable. And still remains a very strong asset for Team Poland here. See that there were some comments as well. And yeah, I mean, Badosa, that's quarterfinal against Zidansek. Joao, I was mentioning that, but even earlier in that event, she almost choked to Bogdan, right? So that was the one where everybody was thinking Badosa could be a huge dark horse, and of course that was the tournament of dark horses, given that we had the Krejcikova Pavlyuchenkova final, Zidansek in the semis.
Yeah.
Also, which slam could Badosa realistically challenge for? I think there's no real surface preferences with her, so maybe any slam.
Wimbledon is okay, right?
She did well at Wimbledon this year, yeah. I think she was playing very well. If she had some more like match practice by then, maybe she could have gone even further. There was that great match with Kasatkina that she played that I think took too much steam out of her. But otherwise, yeah. And that's also to Dave's point that like she has to prove that she's physically able to get to the end of tournaments, which at Wimbledon she wasn't. At the US Open, I think she was just too nervous. So that's a different
And
one.
mentally,
But
exactly, a bit of both.
Yeah.
There are a few perhaps opponents less for her at Wimbledon, as probably we've seen with a couple of sort of random winners. I hope Barbora and Vondrousova don't mind me saying that, Market, don't mind me saying that, but so that might mean that sort of lends itself to Wimbledon. You could say that there's slightly fewer on a clay surface, but then you've also got Iga, so that makes that bit more difficult. So maybe Wimbledon is the one, but yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Somebody said on Twitter today that the Sara Sorribes Tormo Magda match has to be, one of the best matches of the year, or in that conversation. So I don't know. Maybe we need to.
I was thinking about it actually, watching
At
it.
least you watched it, and I'm pleased you watched it, because it means I don't have to necessarily watch much of it. Let's say.
I mean, I think we should talk about it in terms of potentially including it. But if it goes in, it's just because that fifth spot is a little. Yeah, you can take it so many different ways. But yeah, I think it deserves to be in the general conversation. Yes.
Applications open. There's still an opening. If for those of you interested, if you want to pull out an amazing match over the next 5 days or so in Malaga at the Billie Jean King Cup, that would be amazing.
First of all, she has to make a final. That's something she hasn't been able to do.
Yeah, but I think 50%.
How many finals can she make? Max 2, 3? That's the absolute max. And then she also has to come up against Swiatek in these finals. Given that her worst slam is, well, actually, it's kind of debatable. I think it could be Roland Garros, but of course she won it in juniors, and she grew up on clay and everything. But yeah, I mean, it can't be a 50-50. But yeah, it's a possible slam final lineup. I would be excited for a slam final like this.
If you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell so you don't miss out on all things tennis.